Thanks for tuning into the video. I am Plant-Based Gabriel. This was a cooking demonstration of my easy 3-2-1 burgers that I did for World Vegan Day. But it's an easy cooking demo, an easy recipe, and one I really hope you enjoy. Just wanted to give you a reminder that my new plant-based cookbook, The Plant-Based Diet for Beginners, is now out for pre-order on Amazon. I'll have the link below. It means so much to me if you guys at least just check it out. And if you are interested in purchasing it, it's amazing. And it's the handbook I wish I would have had to give to my parents when they first began a plant-based diet. That's it for now. I hope you enjoy the cooking demo. Love ya. All right. Well, happy World Vegan Day, everyone. Happy World Vegan Day. Happy World Vegan Day, Dr. Miller. All right. So right now, today, I am going to be making one of my easiest burger recipes, the 3-2-1 burgers. They're extremely simple to make. You can alter them and change them up in about 1,000 different ways. I'm going to show you a really simple base way to make them and also go over how to cook them. We're not going to be cooking them today because we were not able to in the park, but I do have ones that were pre-cooked just this afternoon, and so we will have burgers and some buns and some condiments to put on them if you'd like. So to get started, the first things we're going to need, these are my 3-2-1 burgers, and that means we have 3 cups of cooked beans. I'm using 3 cups of cooked black beans, but any type of beans will work. You're just going to make sure that if you're using a canned bean that you drain and rinse them, or if you're cooking them yourself, like in the Instant Pot, you also drain and rinse them. But 3 cups of cooked beans. For some recipes, I'll use white beans. Some recipes, I'll use red beans. Some recipes I'll use pinto beans, but black beans here. The only thing that changes is the color and some of the flavor a little bit, but you should be good consistency-wise. We then have 2 cups of cooked brown rice. So any type of rice will work. Again, you could use white rice, you could use black rice, wild rice. I'm using cooked brown rice. We have 1 cup of quick cooking oats. Do you have to use quick cooking oats? No, you can use normal rolled oats. I find that quick cooking oats just integrates a little bit easier into the burgers and you don't have to mix them as much. But again, rolled oats will work just fine, but I like using quick cooking oats. So the base of the burger, 3 cups of beans, 2 cups of rice, 1 cup of quick cooking oats. And then for our spices, again, this is just the simple base recipe. You can always add in different spices that you'd like. But for this one, I have 2 teaspoons of garlic powder and 2 teaspoons of onion powder, and then 1/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper. So very basic, very simple. You could add in some curry spices for a curry burger. You could add in some chili powder for a Mexican burger. You could do a million different things. This is just the base. And then as a liquid, I am using just some tomato ketchup. I'm using 1/4 of a cup of tomato ketchup. You could use maple syrup for a sweeter patty. I like to do that for like a breakfast patty. You could use barbecue sauce for a barbecue burger. You could use salsa for salsa burgers. Again, it's endless. What? Marinara for a marinara burger. Thank you, Dr. Miller. So that is the base of the burgers, and I am making it today just with a glass dish and a wooden spoon, but I do not like making them. If I'm going to make 100 patties, like I will sometimes for us, I will use my stand mixer, so a KitchenAid stand mixer. If you don't have a stand mixer, you can always use a food processor. I like to use a dough hook blades in there, the plastic ones that don't slice, but more so just mix. But a bowl and a spoon works just as fine as well. So we've got the bowl and a spoon, and the first thing I do is take my beans. I'm going to add those in, and I'm just going to mash them down a good amount. You could use a fork as well. I'm using a spoon. And if I was using the KitchenAid like I was to make the burgers earlier, that KitchenAid, I'll put the beans in there first as well. I want to get the beans nice and mashed because that's going to really hold everything together. If you have too many pieces of big beans in there, your burgers might fall apart. And if you're serving this to someone who's not so much maybe in favor of veggie burgers, the more mixed you can get the beans, the more it looks like a regular burger compared to big chunks of beans or big chunks of rice. You want it to look nice and homogenized in there. So I'm going to mash these down. Dr. Miller, what is your favorite type of burger?
I like the Italian marinara burger.
A marinara burger. So on my marinara burgers, I use the exact same base. I'll actually use half of cooked red beans, half cooked black beans, the same with the rice, the same with the oats, and then I'll add in 1/4 of a cup of marinara sauce. and then a tablespoon of Italian seasoning with some garlic and onion powder. But again, really simple. And you can also use this base recipe and then put some marinara sauce on top when you made the burger as well, if you're going to have it like that. So we've got these mashed up. The different colors, it doesn't change really anything, just the color of the burger. So if you were going to use, say, like a black-eyed pea, that does have a different flavor as the different beans, but it will still come out the same. I'll use a Great Northern bean, pinto bean, red beans, black beans, pretty much interchangeably. A lot of times it's just what we have on hand. And then what the burger I'm trying to, like I'll do a porkless burger. So I want it to have a little bit lighter color than, say, a normal black bean burger, just for color-wise.
Or if you do a buffalo burger, that's usually chicken, so we use these white beans for that.
Just a lighter colored burger, yep. So you can see here, it's been mashed up pretty good. I want most of those beans to be at least 3/4 mashed up. If I push this down here, I think I could probably put it over her head and she'd be fine, but we won't do that today for her. Next, I'm gonna add in really everything else. So we've got our oats, and one thing I will mention, if you do add the beans and they're not completely drained, the batter may come out not as easily forming into patties. The easy way to fix that is just add in a little bit more quick cooking oats. So I'm going to hold back some of those quick cooking oats just in case that my mixture doesn't hold together super well. I can tell already those beans were fine, so I'm not going to need to use that extra oats. We've got our rice, our ketchup, or really any sauce or liquid. If you don't want to use ketchup and you want to still go with a really easy base recipe, just use some vegetable broth. It'll work just fine too. And we've got our spices. From here, you can use the spoon and it would work just fine, but I'm just gonna use my hands. It goes a little bit quicker. And if you're doing a big batch, like 20, 30 burgers worth, you're probably gonna wanna use your hands in a nice big bowl because that spoon is gonna give you a good forearm workout. So I'm just mashing them together. And I've done this demo and had the KitchenAid and a bowl and someone working it. And I was using the KitchenAid, someone else was just using the bowl and a mixing spoon, and we made the burgers in pretty much the exact same time. They just got a little better workout in, so that's why I'm using the bowl today. You can see, just nice and easily, trying to mix everything in. And this is why I like using those quick cooking oats, because they're already starting to kind of get mixed in with everything. Whereas if I was using rolled oats or a normal old-fashioned rolled oats, I'd have to mix it a little bit more. And could you use steel cut oats? I get asked that question a lot. You could, but you're probably going to be headed to the dentist afterwards because they will not break down and soften up like these rolled oats or quick cooking oats will. So there is our mixture. And one thing I like to do is just make sure it's in a good form. Can I form it into a ball quickly? I can toss it in there. And this time I will do that. And so nice and easily, we've got our patty. So next, and Dr. Miller, if you could start with getting the burgers ready, but I just take this. I do have patty presses at home, but if I don't have those, say if I was just actually in Nebraska last week and I was making patties for my hosts, some bean burger patties, I just used the top of a mason jar, a wide-mouthed mason jar lid to press them down. If you don't even have that, you can always just press it down with your hands. Make a nice patty. And this way they don't all look the same, so you add your own little touch to them. But there is an easy bean burger, my 3-2-1 bean burgers. How do you cook them? I like to do 3 different methods. The grill is my preferred way to cook these bean burgers. I'll get the grill nice and hot, about 450 degrees Fahrenheit, so I get it really cooking, everything up as high as I can. I'll put the patties on, and then I will have them on for about 4 to 5 minutes, or until I can get that spatula right underneath them and flip them over, and then another 4 to 5 minutes. I can bake these as well. I'll get a baking sheet, I'll line that with parchment paper, and then I'll put that in at 400 to 425, depending on how hot your oven runs, for 25 to 30 minutes, and they'll crisp up nicely. And then lastly, an air fryer. If you do have an air fryer, these work really good in air fryers as well. So 375 for about 12 to 15 minutes, and they crisp up nicely, get cooked in the middle. And one complaint a lot of people have with bean burgers, with two complaints, is they fall apart all the time. And if you mix this up nicely, this should not fall apart on you. If you cook it right, it will not fall apart on you. And that's why I get the grill hot, I get the oven hot, because I create a nice layer on the outside, and then, which crisps up so it's not gonna fall apart, and then it cooks from the inside after the outside's crisped up. So you don't have something that's just gonna fall apart when you try flipping it over. And then secondly, do I have to cook these right away? How do you store these? What I do, and what I have in my freezer right now is, how many do I have in there? Maybe 50 bean burger patties that I've got a baking sheet or cutting board, and I'll get some parchment paper, and I'll just lay it on top and line it, oh, that one fell apart, it hit the glass there, and line it with my bean burger patties, put that in, and I'll put another sheet of parchment, another line of burger patties. I'll put that in the oven overnight for about 12 hours, and pull it out. The burgers are completely solid, so I can just pop them right off that parchment paper and then transfer them to a freezer-safe container. So that could be a Ziploc, that could be a Tupperware, that could be really anything. And they store for, I like to say 6 months, being kind of the sweet spot. But I was at Erica's family's house this past summer, was it? This past summer, and the previous summer, so this was this last May 2018, I was there and made about 100, 150 burger patties for her parents. And there was like 6 left in their freezer. And we tried them, and after a year, they were fine. So you can go up to a year. They probably were still good for another couple months, but they were really delicious. So how do you cook them after you freeze them? Is another question. I normally just cook them for around the same time, but on that upper limit. So on the grill, about 5 minutes instead of the 4 to 5. I find that they cook really similarly, because what you're going to do is get a crisps on the outside, and then it just heats up from the center as well. So I don't. I like to put it on, especially on the grill, I like to put it on frozen, because then it really does kind of have to create a real hot layer on the outside, and then it'll cook from the inside. I find that if I cook it from thawed, even I do prefer, if I have just patties that I just made or frozen, I'll prefer the frozen ones on the grill, just because I find that if I put something like this on there, which does have a tendency to kind of stick a little more than a frozen patty would, that I have a little bit more trouble with these not breaking up. But as long as you let it go until you can just get that spatula underneath, they're just fine. So, all right. We have burgers here. I think we'll be able to, we'll probably cut them in half. We'll cut them in half. And then we've got some ketchup and mustard, and we can just put some on there for you if you'd like, or if you don't want a bun, you can have it without a bun. We will normally we will eat these with buns, but if we don't have buns around, or again, we'll have these bean burgers 2-3 nights a week sometimes. They're just so easy. We have them in the freezer. We can pop them in the oven. We can pop them on the grill, pop them in the air fryer. We will have them on collard greens, just as a kind of a wrap. We'll have them plain. Sometimes we'll just cook them, and then we'll just dip them in barbecue sauce or something. Meatball. You can make bean balls with these. The same patty recipe I just made, I could form these all into balls just like this. And again, I could freeze them, or I could cook them straight like this. And those cook and make really good. You can put them on your pasta sauce, or put them in pasta sauce, put them on your pasta dishes. They cook really well. So there are those. I think Erica will help if you would like to come up and get some burger and try it. It still is warm, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So, and you can put some ketchup or mustard on there, and we can answer questions as well. So if you want to get it, you can go back, sit down, or we can, yeah. And there you have it. That is how I make my easy 3-2-1 burgers. Super simple recipe, one that we eat a ton here on the 1 Acre Vegan Farm. A recipe I hope you enjoy, and one I hope you share as well. Again, my new book, The Plant-Based Diet for Beginners, is now out for pre-order on Amazon, also at Barnes & Noble, and any major place that books are sold. It is the handbook I wish I would have had to give my parents when I first started helping them adopt a plant-based diet. I hope you enjoy it. Check it out. And that's it for today. Make sure you stay tuned for some more videos coming up. If you haven't heard already, I love you. Have a wonderful day.